Welcome to another live episode of Halftime Adjustments. It's Eddie Arnell, my man G Witt, my other man Jay Lou. What's going on,
baby.
fellas?
Tighten up, baby. Tighten up.
Tighten up. I'm gonna go ahead and apologize off the bat. I was telling my fellas I've been under the weather the last few days. My voice is kind of gone, so I apologize for the low tone. But I'm excited because the Titans are the number one seed. Hadn't had that role since 2008, man, and it's great to be back. The playoffs be back in Nashville. So coming into this week, guys. We saw the return of the King to practice, but he was not activated, which would give him basically 3 weeks so the Titans could hold on and get the number one seed today, as we already mentioned. And if you've been rocking with the show for the past few weeks, you saw it on here first. We broke that news on Christmas Eve. Jay Lou with the breaking news that the King will return. And so y'all know we said it here first. Like I told you, we said it here first, and you saw it. And so the Titans come in at week 18, needed to win to clinch the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. The Texans, on the other hand, would love to rain on our party today by pulling it upset. With KC's win yesterday, fellas, the pressure was on to see if the Titans could come out and win and secure that number one seed. The Texans, of course, had a lot of confidence because they beat the Titans here a few weeks ago, 22-13 in the game, which you saw Tannehill throw 4 interceptions. So nothing is guaranteed. Like we were just talking about before we came on live, nothing is guaranteed in the NFL. So you got to show up and play every week. Just ask. New England, right? Ask New England, ask the Colts, and you see what happened today. But results: Titans 28, Texans 25. It was ugly in the second half, but we won, and I'll take it. G Wick, give me your one big takeaway from this game today.
Quite simple, man. Bottom line is we got the number one seed and got the bye. That's my biggest takeaway. We had I thought we took advantage of an opportunity. I thought I'll be the first one to admit I was concerned when we went into halftime. We were up 21-0 because I had a feeling that it was a possibility they may come out flat in the second half, and sure enough, that's what happened. The thing that disappointed me, I think more than anything else, was the defense. They were flat as well. But my big takeaway is that the fact that we got the number one seed, we did what we had to do, got the number one seed. It was ugly. We won it. And now you get 2 weeks of rest. And I'm interested to see how this is going to turn out because I've been there the last couple of times the Titans have had the number one seed, and it's usually been a quick exit. Now, the team that always caused that exit was the Ravens. And so that we ain't got to worry about them. We ain't got to worry about the Colts. So I'm just anxious to see how Mike Vrabel is going to handle this in these 2 weeks and everything, getting everything together. That's what I'm. But the big takeaway is the number one seed, man. That's just the bottom line.
Jay, look, what about your takeaway for this game, fella?
I'm gonna give you 1.5 just because of something G Witt just said. I agree with him on the end, G Witt. I think the blessing in disguise is that the Titans look like trash in the second half because us knowing Vrabel the way we know him, that is his coaching motivation going forward. So I think that might be the blessing in disguise. My one big takeaway, man, and I know, second half, I know what it looked like, but I just look like, I think we finally got a glimpse of what this offense can look like when they're healthy. Who has been the biggest beneficiary outside of Tannehill for the last 2 weeks on the offense? Mr. ASAP Fersker. And that's exactly why is he the beneficiary? Because all the attention is going to AJ and Julio, which I thought Julio had his best game of the season, even better than that Seattle game to me. And again, they got him more targets, but I think you finally got to see what this offense can be like when it's healthy. The wild card will be what can Downing cook up? Because the entire second half, as you said, G Witt, not only did we take our foot off the gas and we thought they were going to lay down, we went back into run first down, run second down, third and long, attempt to pass, punt. One first down, run second down, attempt to pass, punt. I mean, so we've got to be a little bit more creative. So you're hoping that, now you know that there's no other games. You're in a 1-game season the rest of the time for the rest of the year. Let's get in the lab, cook up your best offensive production that you've been waiting on, and go out here and really use this talent that we got. But I think that's the biggest thing. The takeaway I take is seeing what this offense is capable of doing when those wide receivers are healthy.
Man, I'm tell you, Jay Lou must have been on my notes. But so my big takeaway is this, fellas. So Tanny, a few weeks ago we played the Texans. He had 4 interceptions, right, in that first meeting. He comes out today, throws 4 touchdown passes, and plus you got to give him credit to play of the game, which kind of sealed it up for us. 3rd and 5 on our own 30-yard line. He breaks a sack and hits Westbrook-Ikini for a 36-yard play, which leads eventually to Julio Jones's 3-yard touchdown catch. which ultimately wins us the game when it's all said and done. But I agree with you that Ferguson is the beneficiary of this offense when you got a two healthy AJ Brown and Julio line up a receiver, and you see how the offense opens up. And we have a third receiver in Westbrook-Ikhine now.
Absolutely.
That's becoming a possession guy. He makes big catches. He had 2 big catches today. And so you like what you saw. But that's my takeaway, fella. So G-Wit, tell me about this offense today, what you saw, and give us some of your insight.
Well, I have to go along with you because I think what we saw was a pretty good glimpse of what happens when you got 2 healthy big-time receivers on the outside, Westbrook-Ikhine playing the slot, and then also you got first guy out there. So it gives you options. I thought, in all honesty, Tannehill throwing to Jones, I thought he was a little late on quite a few of them, which really bothered me. But other than that, you saw Westbrook-Ikhine make a great catch across the middle. You saw AJ Brown make a great catch when the ball was thrown behind him. All of these are so important, man. So the running game was a little sluggish today. If nothing else, please, they ran that toss sweep. What 7 times today?
Man, please end the toss sweep.
End it, man. I mean, come on, quit wasting time with that play. I mean, because the bottom line. Here's the bottom line on it. Every time they run that play, they always run to the side where Swain is blocking. And he gets blowed up every time.
And he's always in the backfield, right? Yes. Always in the backfield.
He gets blowed up every time. But overall, man, offensively, I thought we did a good job. Overall, the running game was good. I thought we were better running up the middle as opposed to trying to go outside, but I agree with Jay Lou. Todd Downey's got to come up with something. He definitely went back to the analytics part of his game, run, pass. The first half, once you got in the second quarter, I thought they did a pretty good job mixing things up, but it seems like he came out in the second half, it's like, we're going to shut everything down. Tannehill made some good decisions today. He made some bad decisions. He missed some plays. I mean, the sack wasn't on the offensive line this time. It was on him holding the ball too long. It just didn't make any sense. But overall, offensively, I thought we did pretty good. We actually scored points, 28 points by the offense on drives, which was surprising to me. But that was a good thing. So I was happy to see that. We just got to get more consistent and play 2 halves of football. But I agree with you, Jay Lou. Vrabel's going to use that as the coaching moment for the entirety of the playoffs. He's going to keep bringing that up.
Jay Lou, talk to me about this offense today, man.
Yeah, I think we were texting back and forth during the game. That toss sweep was ran 5 times during the first quarter alone.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, I'll give him credit. Now, this is why he want to keep running it, because the last play of the game, when you ran the toss sweep, which was a well-designed play, first of all, it worked, but that was well-designed. You had, I think it was AJ that came in motion. You faked the jet sweep, toss it, and he was wide. It was him, Taylor Lewan, and 1 defender. I take my chances anytime, but we've got to get rid of the toss sweep. I thought the offensive line, again, we're seeing this is what 2nd week in a row offensive line has played with the full 5, and we're seeing that these guys are starting to gel as we get near the end. I think one thing I love to see today, we took a lot more shots downfield.
Yes.
And I think that's with the wide receivers being healthy. Credit again. We've been saying his name all year, but I mean, Nick Westbrook, man, there's nothing more you can say about it. This man, undrafted, has earned himself a playing spot. Had no intentions of being the second or third receiver, but again, this goes to prove with guys being hurt all year long and other folks having to step up what we've built depth. So you like to see that going into it. And again, I think the one thing that we got to improve on too, the wide receiver blocking. This is where we miss Corey Davis. I love Julio Jones, but Julio missed a couple of run blocks that would have been long runs today. So I think you get one thing you like to see about today. You win. You know it's gonna be tough. I mean, you took your foot off the gas. You hate to see that. I kind of chalked some of that up to it being a divisional game anyway. So you hate to see that, but you like to be able to see things you can work on as you win. And plus you get a bye to rest on it. So I think they can do that. And again, we have still yet to see this offense play a full game with their weapons and really play to their full potential. I mean, Julio was hurt in September. Derek goes out in October. AJ been out. So if you can get them to start clicking this extra week of practice and build on that, like I said, I think we can build on what the offensive line is doing for us with that continuity there. And again, you got to say it because it's there, but you come out of the game again for the most part injury free on the offensive side of the ball, and I think that's a huge win.
That's huge, yeah.
Yeah, and let me get a couple of comments and I'll give you my breakdown of offense. So Rodney was asking if I was whispering or coming down. So Rodney, I have, and somebody else, I appreciate y'all asking about me. I am feeling okay, feel better than I have the past couple of days. I am a little under the weather, but I'm getting better. And if you can't hear me, I'll turn my mic up just a little bit more. But if you can't, and I'll try to speak a little bit louder, but doing my best, fellas. The show had to go on tonight. The show had to go on tonight. And so my breakdown of the offense, and I'll speak on this next comment real quick. Nathan says, what do we think about the Big Jeff package on offense? I thought it was a pretty nice little wrinkle, Nathan. So I don't know anything about rules in the NFL, but I know something about high school and college. And, Big Jeff's number is good in high school, 98. And so I don't know why he would have to report in the NFL. Like I said, I don't know the rules in the NFL, but
I'm gonna have to find out. Do you have to have more than one ineligible report? Because if you go back and look at that formation, I think Brewer was in on that as well in jumbo, which would have been an extra tight end, and usually 62 has to report. So, and Big Jeff, if I'm not mistaken, lined up as fullback. So I was a little confused on that call too.
Yeah. And so, I like the wrinkle though. Something different, something to show for next week, and weeks coming up forward. So, a slow start in the first quarter for me, fellas, going scoreless. But you like you said, Jay Lou, to your point, you like what they did in the second quarter, taking shots down the field to Julio and getting folks open. And then, like we said earlier, Ferguson, his best game so far this season. But then the second half, they come out and go 3 straight 3-and-outs with the run pass method from Downing, which, that needs to be left behind in Houston. 405 total yards, 281 passing, 124 rushing. But a key stat, fellas, 4 for 4 in the red zone today and 8 for 13 on third down. So those are some big numbers when you're trying to close out a team on the road, a team that you knew that wasn't going to go down easy, being that it was a rival game. Tannehill, his numbers were good, 23 of 32 for 287 yards, 4 touchdowns. Foreman had 21 carries for 69 yards, and Hilliard added 57 on 9. And then Westbrook and Keenan, leading receiver. So I like the spread of the wealth today. Westbrook had 4 for 78 a touchdown. Brown, 4 for 68 a touchdown. Jones, 5 for 58 a touchdown. And Ferguson, 4 for 56 on a touchdown. And so to your point, like y'all said, fellas, earlier, you see what this offense will look like when it's healthy. Got a few more weeks for the King to get back and get ready, get in his groove, man. Like I said, if this offensive line keeps blocking the way they have, and them run lanes get open more, this is going to be a tough team to stop down the stretch. But on the defensive side of the ball, fellas, and let me start off this way. Bowen, he's got to quit being so stubborn. He's got to get out of his own way, man. The 4-man rush works, right? It works. But when it's not working, you got to stop running that 4-man and stop running that soft coverage in the back end. They were leading. Davis Mills is a rookie. He threw for over 300 yards today because they did not get any pressure on 2 sacks, right? By Jeffrey Simmons, and I can't remember who got the other one, but Pico. Yes, right, Pico. And so, Bowen's got to quit being so stubborn. I'm surprised Vrabel hadn't been telling him to, apply more pressure, because you saw when he brought Byer, what happened. He made an errant throw, showed a few wrinkles here and there, but he stayed with the 4-man rush too long, like we've been saying all season, especially in the second half of the season. And G Witt, man, they've got to get better on getting pressure on the quarterback, because in the playoffs, it's going to be a big difference in the game if we can't get pressure on that quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the one thing that was driving me crazy too in the second half, how they were not getting pressure. And then when they were getting pressure, they weren't keeping contained. There was a couple of times you saw where Harold Landry should have had outside contain, but because he went inside, he left the outside lane wide open, and so gave Mills an opportunity to run to the outside and extend the play. And that's really, when you stop and think about Mills's day, that was really the big deal. He got to extend plays because we couldn't contain him inside the pocket.
Right.
I think if we contain him inside the pocket and get that pass rush going up the middle, we probably make it. But he got outside the pocket way too many times. So that's something they definitely got to work on. I thought the soft zone was really something that, we just don't do very well. But Amendola exposed the nickel position all game, all the entirety of the second half. I thought Burke, Rex Burke, what's the running?
Burkhead. Burkhead.
Thank you, Burkhead.
Mhm.
He had a good game, and I thought, the thing I give credit to is that they just made, some of the receivers just made some great catches. I had to Burkhead made one great catch over Zach Cunningham. And I thought when we tipped the ball up and everything, the other receiver coming in, getting the ball before we could get there, I thought, it was just one of those breaks that happens. So, but defensively, yeah, we got to get pressure on the quarterback, man. He had way too much time to sit back there to throw the ball and everything. And I just thought that really we didn't get enough glue on the receivers in the second half. And basically that's what they gave up on the run. They just passed the ball on us in the second half. And we just allowed them to move it down the field, which was disappointing for me.
Yeah, and Jay Lou, to that point, man, we've been talking about it all season long. Even the tackling was sloppy in the second half, and Deion says was Bud Dupree on the field all in the second half. He was, but guess what?
Yeah,
we was just rushing 4 people, and so like I said last week and been saying the weeks before, they've picked up on the stunt game. Everybody's picked up on the stunt game now, so they're just gonna pass it off and wait for the other guy to come back. And so now it's easy, right? Everybody knows what you're going to do. So now you got to start switching it up. But Jay Lou, tell me what your viewpoint was for this defense today.
Yeah, mine is kind of along what G Witt just said as he was wrapping up. You saw the Houston Texans make a conscious effort to say, okay, we can't run the ball, we're just going to pass it. And the Titans never adjusted on defense. I don't think we were in chase. It was reminiscent of that 2020 defense. We were just reminiscing. DBs was missing tackles. We were still playing far off. And again, we did what Titans usually do, is make a rookie quarterback stay close and should come back and beat you. Davis Mills, I think that's their starting quarterback next year. They don't know what they're gonna do with Watson, but I think he's proven himself the last 13 games or so he played. But I think we were missing some of that depth on the defensive line. I know Tart was down, Jones was down, so I think you missed that. Now I will say, Eddie, wasn't no stunts they ran, because you saw it as I was watching the game. I kept hearing your voice in my head talking about people been picking up on it. The one that Big Jeff got a sack on, if you go back and watch it, they did a stunt and he hit the lineman when he came off it. That's what made the lineman fall and he went in. But to your point, I mean, the rushing 4 and Landry was still in coverage a few times a day, which again, I don't understand that, was telling. I will say it's interesting. I think the Titans kind of tipped their hand. We know what we're going to see from the inside linebackers going forward in the playoffs. I think Rashaan Evans might have played 2 snaps. Right. If I'm not mistaken, and Jayon was a healthy scratch. I thought overall Long and Cunningham both did well. We just looked like when Houston made the effort to say we're scrapping our game plan, we're coming out passing, we just looked confused out there a little bit. And I think now I know somebody put it in the chat, and I don't remember, but did Fulton come back in the game after he went out?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So that's good. And you hope Molden got a little nicked up. Molden got taken to school today. And Danny Amendola, to his credit, 36 years old, he was running some routes, taking him to class. So again, that's something that you want to go back and clean up. And again, same with Rex Burkhead, he's just hard to bring down. But overall, I think defense did just enough to get by. But I think again they'll get back in the classroom this week and next week and can right the ship on that. But again, what you said, Eddie, we've got to. It's proven fact, because our front 4 is so good. When we blitz, that makes it even better, and we've got to add a few more blitzes. The Bayard blitz probably was one of the better ones they've ran all year, because that was schemed up very well. So we've got to find a way to get some more pressure on QBs instead of just trying to sit back in 7-8 man coverage and hope for the best.
Yeah, Eddie,
go ahead.
Eddie, real quick, I just wanted to say the other thing that really bothered me on the defensive side of the ball during that run that Houston was having, it was Chris Shank wasn't in the game a lot.
Right.
And I thought that was pretty unusual, considering the fact, a lot of the slot receivers were getting passes and everything, and tight ends, bigger receivers. So I was surprised he wasn't in the game more than what he actually was, as far as that was concerned. But go ahead. I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, that's fine. And to that point, though, G, I think it was just a matchup situation. I think they felt like they didn't have a good matchup with him out there, because they didn't run a lot of routes with the tight ends. They were in helping Chip and stuff. And so, but yeah, to your point, though, he wasn't on the field a lot. And let me throw this out there too, fellas, because with Jeffrey's sack, he has 8.5 on the season. You had Autry with 9 and Landry with 12, man. Those are some big time numbers. You think about what is 19 sacks total last year for this team.
Yeah.
And between those 3 guys right there, they exceed that. And so and then to another point I was going to bring up, Jay Lou, about you talking about the defense in the front four being so good. So when you bring those extra people, you see how much attention that front four gets, and Byard, it comes through and not even touched, right?
Yeah.
And so it's going to have to be more than that. 353 yards of total offense for the Texans, 289 passing, 64 rushing. Another game holding an opponent under 100 yards, fellas. So that's awesome. You would like to think that's a win every time you hold a team under 100 yards. 4 for 11 on third down and 2 sacks, as I mentioned earlier. Special teams, Fat Randy had a Fat Randy day. He missed the field goal. Perfect on his extra points. And go ahead.
Oh, he didn't just miss that field goal.
No, he missed it. You knew it was missed as soon as it came off his foot.
Fat Randy was still, I don't know what he was thinking on that kick. But you did love to see him settle down. And I'm glad we got the luck of the draw on the holding call, because I don't understand for the life of me why we're going to keep kicking the ball short when we just put it in the end zone, because I just don't like our kickoff coverage.
Yeah. And let me get this comment in to you. This is for you, J. Lou. Erijan is the best part of this podcast. I agree. Lil Lou is the best part of this podcast.
He is down here right now entertaining himself for the length of this podcast. Let's see how long it lasts.
So again, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments tonight. Titans 28, Texans 25. The Titans lock up the home field advantage in the playoffs. Everything comes through Nashville. You got to love it, fellas. Like I said, no matter what the win looked like today, we wrapped it up. We did it. Very pleasing, very satisfying, considering, Vrabel's got to be head coach of the year. He's got to be. I mean, what do you say? They said if by the end of today's game, it could have been 91 players used on this roster, which is smashes the record of all time, and to still win 12 games and lock up the number 1 seed and losing your MVP, your so-called MVP of your football team. I mean, you got to give credit to Vrabel and his staff and G Witt, something that we preached about all last season, getting this defense turned around, and what a remarkable turnaround it's been for this defense this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And to go along with that, man, I think you got to also give some credit to J-Rob, man, as GM of the year, executive of the year, man, because, I mean, bringing those players in and finding players that were going to be able to work with the coaches and everything to be, you sign them on a practice squad on Wednesday and you have them play on Sunday and they contribute. Mm-hmm. That's huge. Right. So, I think, Vrabel definitely as coach of the year candidate, he should win it outright because everybody else who's had to use a lot of players throughout the years did not win or never made the playoffs. And the fact that we ended up with the number 1 seed speaks volumes to the coaching staff and the way they got players ready to play, regardless of who they were and how the players got out there and contributed. But overall, man, you're just glad to see what's going on with the team, man. It's been a long time coming. That's the thing I'm looking at, man. It's been a long time coming. And as one of the fans who sat through those 2-14 and 3-13 seasons, I'm happy as a lark, man. I can't help myself.
Eddie Gray says, why didn't they put Fulton in the slot? Though I think Fulton was actually matched up on Collins for most of the day. It's like he was following him around on the field. So that's probably why you didn't see him, because every time they threw the Collins the ball, Fulton was in coverage on him. So that's why you didn't see him. There was something different they did today, because he normally doesn't follow a receiver around. No. But today he did. And, that's because he might have been the best receiver. Now, Cooks was out there, but he got hurt, or he never did come back in the game for whatever reason. But anyway, man, like I said, you got to tip your hat to this defense. What a turnaround from last year. And as you look at the AFC playoff standings currently, the Titans, of course, they've locked up number 1 seed. KC is 2, and judge upon how the Patriots game is about to turn out, the Bills will get 3 seed. If they continue to win their game, which they were leading 13-10. I hadn't seen an update on that just yet. Bengals in 4. Pats are 5. That could change. Chargers and Raiders play tonight, and if they don't tie, the winner will get in, and then the Steelers will get that last spot. So the Colts were eliminated today, as they lost to the Jags, and that's something that's to be said there, because like I said earlier in the show, you've got to show up and you've got to play the game. Nobody's going to take it lightly, especially when you play division rivals. That might have been one of the best things the NFL could have done a few years ago when they changed the schedule to make those last few weeks meaningful in the NFL season. And you saw today how it turned out. And so, fellas, I mean, what can you say? You get a week off, you get a chance to get the King back in the groove. He gets another 2 weeks to get ready for the playoffs. And of course, we'll get the lower seed coming out. We won't know that until a couple weeks to see who we get to play. And but I'm excited, fellas, and I know y'all are.
Oh man, I'm thrilled to death. And you know, again, today was good for me because with all the crap and smack that's been talked about the Colts over these past 6 to 8 weeks, you know, to see them going to be sitting at home, you know, they ended up with the most players for the Pro Bowl.
Yep.
You know,
they're gonna be at home in the
they'll
playoffs.
be at home the next couple of weeks until the Pro Bowl is played. To me, that speaks volume. In all honesty, I was glad to see the Ravens get eliminated because the last 2 times we've had the number 1 seed, that's who's knocked us out. And I think if they had made the playoffs, they beat Pittsburgh, you probably would have seen Lamar Jackson coming back a lot quicker than normal. So, but regardless, man, right now it's just about getting healthy, getting everybody ready to go, getting the King healthy, and making sure that running game is up to snuff in 2 weeks. And then that defense fixing what went wrong today in the second half and getting ready to go out there and play some serious football, man, because that's what it's all about. It's going to be rocking in the stands, man. You know, nobody was expecting us to be the number 1 seed, let alone, I don't think a lot of people expected us to make the playoffs, especially after Henry went down.
Right. I mean, look at all the pundits. You know, you saw it on First Take, on Get Up, and on ESPN, man. They were all saying the Titans are done. They're finished. And, I mean, look where we are now. Number 1 seed, playoffs, Henry's back. And like we said last week and the week before, this team is getting healthy at the right time. And so, yeah, we got nicked up a little bit on defense today, but I don't think it was anything serious. And so we should be at 100% full speed. And this will be the first time, you know, everybody's going to be 100% healthy on this football team going into a game. And so let me get this comment in because somebody said we got a shout out tonight on Talton's Tight Back. It's Eddie Gray. Said we got a shout out. The show got a shout out tonight. So appreciate that, whoever did that.
Well, okay.
And let's see. Will says Jonathan Taylor equals MV, no P, no playoffs.
Yeah, he had a rough game today.
Okay. So Eddie Gray says that's a show on 104.5. So somebody gave us a shout out.
It's after the I think it's after the Titans radio finishes their post game. I think it's with Kevin Dyson and
that's what he said.
Bishop. Yeah,
that's what he said. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Right,
that's
sweet.
awesome, man. We appreciate the love from y'all, man. The support of the show. Fellas, man, we got a week off. I'm gonna tell you what, we're gonna come back next week. We'll do a show. We're gonna really get into the numbers of how this team turned around this year, because you'll be amazed at this defense as far as the numbers they're putting up, and offense too. But I really want to talk about the defense. But we'll do both sides of the ball, because the defense, if you know anything about it, 18% on third down conversions this year. That is absolutely amazing, considering where we were last year.
Historically bad last year. Yeah,
over 60% last year. So.
Yeah. So no, man, it's been amazing. I'll be honest with you, this season, because let's just be honest about it. We thought we could win, but when we went through the gauntlet, we were talking about coming out of that bad boy, 3-3 if we're lucky. If we're lucky, 4-2 with those 6 games, and we ended up winning all 6.
6-0.
6-0 in that gauntlet, man. That was huge, and really, when you stop and think about it, that's what really gave us the momentum going into the second half of the season. Even though we did drop a couple of games, but we also saw that when we dropped those games, it was mainly because of turnovers. We were shooting ourselves in the foot. Right. So you look at that, and you see this team. You see how this team is ready to play, how this team is physical. That's the one thing everybody keeps talking about, the physicality of the team, how they just keep coming. They keep hitting. They keep running the ball. They keep coming at you with the running game. So, you stop and think about it. With the running game, Derrick Henry had over 900 yards through the first 8 games, and through the rest of the season, we had 1,000?
Over 1,000. Yeah, they went over 1,000.
Yeah, we had over 1,000 as a team. So that means, again, like everyone said, you didn't change your identity. You kept running the ball, which really helped on play action whenever they decided to run it. So you like what this team is capable of doing. We've seen that. They finally got back to scoring, which is important, because for a while we went through that stretch where we were averaging 13 points a game. So now we're back up to like a reasonable number, 21, 28 points.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what you want to see. And you want to see this defense still shutting people down. You can't run on us. It's that much has been shown. We're the second best run defense behind the Ravens. And, the question is going to be, can we get that pass rush short up?
I think we get it shored up if they blitz a bit more. Just an update on the scores, and I see y'all posting. I appreciate that. New England is just lost to the Dolphins. It looked like he threw a pick six too.
Ooh.
Or a fumble, or was it a fumble? Okay, so it was a fumble recovery they were lateraling back and forth. Oh wow,
Gotcha.
okay. So 33-24, the Bills are up. So the Bills are hold that 3 seed and the Pats stay the 5 seed. So you pretty much got everything set except for the 6 and 7 spot, which will happen tonight after tonight's game. And so there we are, man. The playoffs are set pretty much. You'll see if the Steelers get in or if it's the Raiders and if the Chargers or the Raiders.
Raiders win, I think. If the Raiders and Chargers tie, they both win. If Raiders win, Steelers are 7, Raiders 6. If Chargers win, Chargers are 6 and Steelers are 7. So.
Regardless, if whoever wins tonight, the Steelers are going to be the 7th seed. They'll have to go to Kansas City.
Yeah.
Right.
And one thing we ain't talked about, and I'm sure we'll know here probably about halftime of tonight. Who's drawing the short stick to be the Monday night football game in the playoffs?
I know it.
Because if that's an AFC team and it's one of them lower seeds that can possibly come here, you got the potential of getting a team on a short week in the playoffs, and that's never happened. So that's something the NFL has added different this year, a Monday night game in playoffs. So, it's going to be interesting to see how they put that one when you look at some of the matchups that come out later on tonight for that standpoint. And again, we talked about the Titans, man. Just think about it. Over the last 3 years, we played at Houston. The first year, it was a chance to get into the playoffs.
Right.
Last year was a chance to win the division. This time was a chance to win the conference. Well, number 1 seed. So that just shows you the evolution of this team over the last 3 years. I know you talked about it, G, with 2-14, 3-13, etc.
Oh, yeah.
I look forward to Nissan on more than likely that Saturday evening game. You might have heard that one here first. I just think that they'll give us that divisional playoff game will be on a Saturday. I look forward to seeing Nissan packed. And also just to talk about the King, he practiced on turf and had no problem. So just FYI, these 2 weeks are going to be great for the King.
So Jay Lou, there you go, putting out that info, man. I'm telling you, look, man, y'all been rocking with us. Jay Lou been putting it out, and it's been coming true. So keep.
Had today been a play in and win game like the previous 2 years, he would have suited up and played.
Go ahead. I'm gonna get a couple of these comments in and see. Will says Julio got his first touchdown. That's right. Eddie Gray says we legit could have been 16-1 this season. So Eddie Gray, to that point, you take out the turnovers. And we talked about this before. You take out those turnovers. I'm gonna go back. I'm not gonna even go back to the Jets because I think they really lost the Jets game. I mean, because they just play like trash. Right.
They only lost 2 games to me: the Jets and the Cardinals.
And the Cardinals, right? And so you take the turnovers out of the New England game, you take them out of the Pittsburgh game and the Texans game, and we beat the brakes off New England. 200 rushing yards.
Yes.
So I totally agree with that, man. I appreciate that. Dion says, like he said before, which he said a few weeks ago, I believe, he said Henry getting hurt was a blessing in disguise because we had to learn how to win without him and face a lot of injury. So so Todd Downing, because all he was doing was run pass, even though he stayed to that mantra pretty much somewhat. And so today, I like what he did today, though. Like you said, Jay Lou, he took shots down the field. You saw Julio get out. Tannehill missed him a couple times, but you like what you saw.
You like to see that they went in with a game plan to get Julio. Julio led the team in targets. He had 9 targets.
That's right.
5 catches on 9 targets. They went in to make it a point to get him targets, and then AJ Brown again with 6. So that's 15 targets between your 2 top horses. You continue to get that. And I thought again, Tannehill was efficient. 23 of 32. The ones he missed were just bad misses. I mean, you didn't see no drops. He just missed them bad. But so you think another week of practice? They did say, I heard him talking in the post game that this was the most work that him and Julio have done in practice since probably the beginning of the year. And you got to think with COVID and him being hurt and all that. You love to hear that type of stuff going into the playoffs in January. Yeah. What other teams are saying that your possible Hall of Fame wide receiver is just not getting the most practice with his quarterback now? So hopefully continue to build that chemistry and just take off.
Right. Go ahead.
And another thing about them throwing the ball deep, really loosened up those linebackers in the first half.
Yes.
So it definitely opened up some running lanes for him. And I could just, like I said, if the King comes back fully healthy, ready to go, it's going to be interesting watching this offense run the ball and pass the ball. I mean, it's pretty much going to be wide open. So we'll see what Todd Downey's made of in these playoffs. We'll see what he's made of. And we'll see if it's going to be like it was in the San Francisco game, where Vrabel is going over there to him and Tannehill like, you got to do something different.
Right. You got to open it up. Let's get more questions. Some more comments in. So Eddie Gray says, a quick question. Do we think we should ride Foreman as a starter and bring King in as a closer?
No.
No, I think if Derrick Henry is healthy and he's good to go, I think you start him. But I do think you give Foreman some carries too. I think you're going to have to run him more and not because so you think about this. It's been what, 10 weeks almost since Derrick Henry's played.
Yeah, 11 weeks.
His legs are fresh, but he's not in game condition yet. Game shape. And so Deontay Foreman is going to be critical. I mean, even Hilliard is going to be critical in this running game going forward in the playoffs. Because
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go. I'm good.
The one thing I'm gonna say about that, because we've all seen Derrick Henry through his career, and we remember the travesty it was with DeMarco Murray and then Deion Lewis.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, even when healthy, takes time to get warmed up. You don't want to see the Titans get into one of these ones where we give him 2 or 3 runs, pull him out for a series or 2, then put him back in. I think you're going to have to give him a handful of series in a row and then go into just a normal cadence. I'm going to say you don't give it to him, but I think instead of 35 carries, we might see 25. And I think that's a comfortable number for Derrick Henry coming back. And I think he can be productive with those 25 touches.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. I think really what you have happening here right now is the fact that, with Foreman, again, you could bring him in and your offense doesn't change and your defense still has to honor the run game, as opposed to when you would bring in somebody like a Deion Lewis or Jeremy McNichol and everybody knows you're going to pass the ball.
Yeah.
So now you see something with Deontay Foreman coming in. All of a sudden, they're like, he can catch out the backfield also.
That's right.
Same thing with Dontre Hilliard. You're keeping him because he can catch out the backfield as well as run between the tackles. So it really opens up your run game. Yeah, Henry's your bell cow. I mean, come on, let's think about it. The man hadn't played since week 8, and he's still in the top 10 in the league in carries, rushes, and yards and everything. So that just speaks volume to the type of player he is. So yeah, no, he starts and you feed him. I think the first few series you feed him, and then you get back into your regular groove.
Hey, something before you get into it, Ed, there's underrated that happened this week. The Titans cut McNichols.
They did.
I think we saw today why they cut McNichols. Hiller did a phenomenal job pass blocking on 3rd down. And McNichols is cut because he missed a block last week. Let's just be honest. He missed a block last week, and they was like, we got somebody in here who's probably a little faster and does a better job blocking. So I thought that was that's again one of those sneaky things. You always talk about it, G-Wit, the J-Rob, if you can't play, they're going to cut you no matter who you are. And we saw it. McNichols has been helping the team all year long. We cut him the week before the last week of the season, and Hillard, somebody we signed off practice squad, is just he's a better version of McNichols.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got more speed and more quickness also. Yes. And so you like that about him. So I want to get this in too, fellas. Again, thank y'all for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments tonight. Get your comments and questions in. We're getting them high and fly. They're flying in. So trying to get to all of them before we sign off. But I think it was Will. He says, who would we not want to see in our first game? I'll let y'all answer that first, and I'll come back with my suggestion or thoughts.
First game. So the 7th seed would be Pittsburgh or the
winner of the Charge of the Raiders.
Winner of Charge of the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to see Cincinnati's with the 4 seed.
Yeah.
So if you say all top 4 seeds hold, then we got no choice but to take Cincinnati. And I think Cincinnati is a tougher matchup for us. Mm-hmm. Just given the options they have at wide receiver, and they got a pretty stout defense. Mm-hmm. That you hope some inexperience can kick in with them. But and then Joe Burrow lit us up as a rookie last year, and then you give him another receiver. So I think Cincinnati, weapons wise, would probably be a tough matchup for. That's the only team I think we don't match up. Well against. Would probably be the Bengals. I think that the other top tier, the AFC, we can match up pretty good with them. But the Bengals, I think that's just might be a little bit too much power on the outside to be a tough matchup.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, G.
Oh, well, I'm pretty much in the same boat. I just think, really, in all honesty, even I was thinking Cincinnati, but the bottom line is the playoffs are the playoffs, and everything is amped up. And again, like you said, J. Lou, Cincinnati's offense is explosive, and we really don't match up well with that overall team speed they got, especially with the wideouts and everything. So to me, that's the biggest issue that we got. Burrow is playing some lights out football. It'll be his first time in the playoffs. He'll have a game under his belt, so he'll be used to the speed of the game and everything. Because as you well know, playoff football is a notch up from regular season. So I would say he would be the one, because really, when you stop and think about it, the other division winners, the Chiefs and the Bills, their weaknesses are really that they're almost one-dimensional in the fact that they don't really have a good run game. Neither one of them. And right. I think that Cincinnati does have a good one with Joe Mixon.
Right, and I agree. And Dion really took my thunder there. He says, "Who doesn't light us up as a young QB?"
Nobody.
So that would be my concern, is that Joe Burrow's being a second year guy, knowing that we don't get after the young guys when they play quarterback. That would be my concern, because as of right now, we sticking with that 4-man rush. And when you got Joe Burrow, he's good in the pocket, he can move, he's mobile, and he's got a good arm. And so he's flying high right now with the Bengals. And so anyway, thank y'all for joining us for another episode of Halftime with Justin, man. Appreciate the comments, the questions, all the stuff coming in tonight, man.
Ain't it a fun show when we can sit here and we can discuss potential matchups, because we ain't got one next week?
I know, ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy,
man?
And we got a G Wit in a good mood. I mean, right. you gotta get all that. You gotta take all that in. Y'all take all that in right now, okay? Y'all take that in, because it's a good time here in Nashville. But
it's a rare situation, man. Think about it. It's a rare situation, man. It's rare that, usually think about it like this. Today, we got to watch afternoon football without any stress.
That's true.
Yeah, well, you mean once 3 o'clock hit, because it was a little stressful for that hour. But after that, stress-free, you ain't got to worry about who you play next week or nothing. Right. I mean, our biggest concern was, and he went back in the game, Fulton going back in, and Hooker. Both of them who went down, going back in, and let's get them all healthy.
Yeah, that's the big thing right now. But it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, man. Like I said, the last 2 times we've had the number 1 seed, it didn't work out too well for us. So I'm just looking for a change.
And you got to be in a good mood. And Willie, appreciate the comment, man. He said the next time we see the Titans, you'll see King here in the backfield. So
that is true.
I got to give a golf clap for that. A golf clap for that. That's a great point. Hey, we appreciate y'all showing love and support for the show, man. Y'all been rocking with us for a long time. We added J. Lou to the show this year, man. He's brought a good dynamic, and we've been doing me and G Wit been, I think, about 4 or 5 years now in G Wit.
Yeah.
And so, man, y'all been, for all of y'all been rocking with us from day one. We appreciate the love and support, man. Stick with us. Y'all know we're gonna give you the facts 100%. And J. Lou, man, he brings a different dynamic because he's got the inside scoop. Can't tell y'all how he got that inside scoop, but he does. He does it. And if y'all been with the show here the last few weeks, he's been 100% on point. That's why they're giving us shout outs on 104.5. Like, how do y'all know this information? Because we got an inside source. That's all we're gonna say. That's all we're gonna say, man. So again, thank y'all for joining us for another episode of Halftime with Just with Eddie Arnell, G Wit, J. Lou, and Lil J. Lou on the show tonight, man. Y'all catch us next week. We'll be back. We'll be talking about the defense and the offense, and we'll kind of break them down and give you some stats about how good they are this year. So again, thank y'all for joining us. We are out of here, man. Peace.
Peace.